Well, hey, what's up, everybody? This is Rick Coughlin with Grove Studios, CEO and co-founder. We are here to do another Grove Sessions. We founded Grove to enable people to create music and share their voices with the world because we believe doing that makes the world a better place. It's really just as simple as that. And I'm super excited right now that I'm with a group of amazing musicians, otherwise known as Violet Soul. And I'm going to bring them on right now so we can talk about all of the good things that are happening in the world. I've got Angelina, Ryan, Daniel, and Jordan from Violet Soul. We are sans one member, but that's okay. They're going to pop in hopefully in a little bit to chat with us. But you guys, thank you for taking the time to, talk tonight, and just excited that you're here. It's good to see your faces. Cheers to you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
Looks like Riley's here too.
Oh, awesome. Here we go. Just on time.
Oh.
Talk about timing. Perfect.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, welcome. You just missed my intro spiel, but that's okay.
I was here.
Oh, okay, cool. You heard us.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just wasn't patched in.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Thank you.
Yeah. What's up?
So Violet Soul, we were able to witness a performance this past summer during COVID times that it was sans Angelina, but I've seen you guys perform all together, and you guys are amazing. I really love what you do. Part of the local music community, but spreading out beyond. Like, I admire you, like, as a musician myself. I admire your musicianship, and I'm really fortunate to also be able to play with Ryan as well as a musician. So it's kind of like this intertwined thing, and it's just super exciting to rap with you guys tonight and just kind of learn more about you guys as a band. And the performance was amazing. We did actually do a performance together. Gosh, that feels like eons ago, but we did something at the Tap Room way back, if I can recall correctly. So, but yeah, I can't wait to see you guys perform again.
Cafe.
Yeah.
Last February, maybe.
Blind Pig.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah,
I feel like we're a little bit Brady Bunch right now. Like, I should look slightly to the right, and then somebody should look over there, and we should all do the thing.
Yeah, where's Alice? Where's Alice at?
There's nobody down there.
Yeah, can everybody just take a minute to do that, right?
Yeah.
But seriously, I really admire you guys as musicians, and I'm super curious, and I always want to ask this out of the gate. I really want to get everybody's sort of music background. Like, what got you into music? When did you realize that this was something you were going to do for the long haul? I'm just always curious about that. And I don't know, maybe we'll start out with Angelina, just being the front person of the band, kind of in that way. And you guys all sort of front in the same ways. You guys are just great musicians, but yeah, tell us your origin story. How did you get started with music?
A lot of my starting out in music was in school, like grade school, starting off in choir, and then leading into musicals. Choir was definitely the biggest part of into college, and then I just kind of after that just kind of branching off with other people and doing projects on the side, and that's kind of choir is definitely where it originated from.
I love that. I am a former choir person myself. A lot of people don't know that or realize that, but I can relate.
Cool.
What's the cheesiest thing you ever did as someone in high school choir?
I mean,
is there? Come on, there's something cheesy. I can tell you what mine is, but
I mean, it's just something of my choir teacher used to have us do dance moves, I guess during choir rehearsal or choir shows, or or even just some of the warm-ups were just like silly, but I don't know. I mean, what are your examples? What is like,
Oh,
what do
okay.
you
Well,
mean?
okay. Well, you can put me on the spot. That's okay. I will do
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
I'm perfectly okay. So I could show you a picture of me in a white tuxedo with I think it was yellow that I wore, like with like a yellow cummerbund and a yellow bow tie.
okay.
And one year we did this Broadway show. There were a lot of jazz hands. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna
Oh,
put
yeah.
that out
Okay.
there.
Similar.
Yeah. So,
Similar. Yeah.
but
Okay.
we would do that, but we also did like competition choir where we'd do like we'd have to go to Oakland University and like sight read
I did the solo and
Latin
ensemble
dirges,
and the
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, I know,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah. You
loved it
can
though.
relate.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah. Totally.
I love it. I love that. Cool. All right, who else wants to pipe in? I shared my embarrassing yellow cummerbund story, so you guys don't have
Sorry.
jump in. Okay, I'm gonna pick.
Right.
I'm gonna pick on Ryan. Ryan's next.
All right. Yeah, similar to both of you guys. I mean, I started getting into music in choir and being in musicals when I was since middle school. I was doing musicals and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I guess I had a piano, like an upright piano. My parents bought me. My dad varnished it, restained it, painted it, and tuned it. And I guess yeah, my first like piano recital in like middle school, I played like the Harry Potter theme. I was learning like video game music and stuff like that. But I think really I guess the deciding factor that I really wanted to pursue music more professionally was probably about 5 years ago. It was kind of at like a house party, like jam. Just, it was my first time jamming with other musicians, and got me on a synth. I was playing synth bass at the time with some of, the musicians that are still in the Ipsy Ann Arbor scene. And yeah, I think that was definitely a point where I kind of took off and started to get kind of just the bug to wanting to create and play with people more. And yeah, I think basically from that point, I've just been working with bands, or like, working with groups of people and working with bands ever since.
Very cool. Yeah, house parties. That'll give you an itch. House parties are fun for sure. How about you, Daniel?
So sorry, I seem to be having a little bit of a connectivity issue. I have kind of been around music my whole life. Was raised like in the church. My dad was the worship leader. So that's kind of always been a pretty heavy part. Going through school, we would have like elementary musicals. I went to a small Christian school in the area. Do like, quartet ensemble stuff vocally. Picked up a tuba in 6th grade. Always kind of liked the low end. So when it got to like high school and everyone was trying to make bands, and you start listening to that rock and roll music, it just kind of came natural. I was already doing like bass or baritone singing, playing the tuba, so picked up the bass guitar and would like play for the school's like worship team. Actually cut my teeth in a couple worship teams for church and school and other churches as well. And kind of just, it had always been a pretty integral part. Like my dad was the worship leader. Like I said, his dad had been the worship leader before him. It's just always been a very active part of the family, but never like compositionally or creative, just, facilitating experiences. And so by the time I got near the end of high school, I was very interested in like making music, and had a couple friends that we started a few bands, went to college, started some bands in Arkansas, and has just kind of been a pretty integral part of who I am. It's like the only thing that's consistent between me at 16 and me now is playing bass.
I love that. I can definitely relate to that. That has been the consistent part of my life as well, which is, music. And it's interesting you said like facilitating experiences and how it turned into this other thing where you were kind of doing it for other people, but and then you kind of started doing it for yourself, and now then you're again, carries on. I love it. Yeah.
It's like that interplay of, getting to speak or getting to express yourself and trying to get other people to feel what you feel, or, think what you're thinking to an extent. It's a type of communication, and being able to have that like communal experience of a performance is there's nothing that's quite the same as that for me.
Yeah. And I think that's probably been our biggest challenge collectively as musicians for the last years, because we haven't been able to have that as much, right? Like we've done some things, but it hasn't been at the level that we've been used to in the past. So yeah, I get that. I get that. That's cool, man. How about you, Jordan? What's your origin story of music?
I was one of those Suzuki kids, they give cardboard violins to, and you march around in a circle in some basement somewhere.
Yeah.
My mom got the idea. I don't know if she read it in the newspaper, like Suzuki violin, get your kid to do whatever. And I was like crazy. I don't know. I was like 3 or 4 or something like that. So started early, and I played in church as well, in the little string section they had at my church. And then later on, I just happened to run into these crazy characters. This is in Grand Rapids. And they had this kind of like talent show thing they did every Tuesday night. It was like in the smoky back room behind a coffee shop, and kind of fell in with all these crazy kids, and they all tried to perform in whatever way they could. And eventually that led me to joining some of them, and it was this crazy dramatic band. I just said, like, I saw them once, and I'm like, I could play violin to this, it's crazy and dramatic, and violin is crazy and dramatic, so it would fit right in. And they're like, sure, come join us. And that led to like being in a burlesque show band, all sorts of stuff. I played with like singer-songwriters, moved to Ann Arbor, played with like bluegrass people here, and eventually sort of ended up doing jazz. I was jazz and bluegrass for a while, but then mostly jazz. And then, that led to I don't know, I recorded with Ryan somehow. That's how I met these guys. Whatever this is, Jam Soul or whatever. Soul Jam.
Yeah, it's cool. I love hearing that.
Not inaccurate.
The convergence of influences is always fascinating to me. How we wind up in these groups and everybody has these different influences, but it comes together in this really coherent thing. And I think that performance was good, and like in terms of showing that like convergence of influences on one hand, but then seeing you guys in the full configuration, both instrumentally and with Angelina at the helm. Like, it's cool to see all those things come together. It is. I mean, I guess that's where sort of like the term fusion comes from, in that way, where we're fusing different things together. In that sense, it's nothing new, but it's also feels fresh to me, because you guys are here in Michigan and Southeast Michigan, and like doing what you do, and you guys are really phenomenal, man. I'm gonna tell you, like, watching you guys perform is really fun. How about you, Riley? What's your origin story? Give us a little taste.
What's up? Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. I played drums and percussion, among other instruments, but those are the main ones. And I did that through school, through band and whatnot. Started a couple of different groups, and I was about to like quit everything and just go do engineering at school, and ended up deciding to stick with drums and other passions, got into farming and stuff, and joined like an indie rock group called The Paths. It was Rose Poem before that. And then, yeah, just kind of been working on different projects. I was in that for 3 years. And then I've got my solo thing, Beanstalk. That's like, it was more electronic ambient. Now it's more disco house, synth pop kind of deal. As well as Liquid Thickness is my other group right now. It's like a funk band. We also do some jamming and stuff too. But yeah, and then so I just joined Violet Soul super recently. I've subbed for them a couple times, but it wasn't like official. So I haven't played any gigs yet as the full band, but got a couple looking forward to doing that this summer. And yeah.
It's awesome.
You noticed the wizard hat behind Riley there on the counter.
Yeah, that's my birthday hat.
Oh,
nice. Is it your birthday?
It was a couple days ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay, right on. Fellow Pisces. My birthday is tomorrow. So.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Happy early birthday.
Thanks, man. Happy belated to you.
Oh, happy birthday.
Duke Silver.
Yeah.
I was just about to say
Tell us
that.
about Duke Silver. You know,
It was just Duke Silver is a random like reference from a Parks and Rec,
Right.
the TV show. It was Ron Swanson's like secret saxophone, like his like smooth jazz alter ego.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So I have the poster here, but it's not within reach.
What? You've got a poster?
You got the Duke Silver poster.
Yeah, I have a Duke Silver poster.
Oh, what?
But
Nice.
it's not
That's
within reach.
perfect.
I can't.
That's sweet. Yeah.
Can't grab it right now.
Duke Silver fans here.
I love it. I love it. So yeah, I mean, obviously, like we're doing this remotely. I mean, there's 6 of us. But I'm curious, like from this last year has been a super weird year for all of us in a lot of ways. How have you guys managed to stay creative? I know for me, I had at the outset of the pandemic, I had a really hard time staying creative. And I realized that a lot of that was because I suddenly was cut off from so many creative people that I normally interacted with. And suddenly that was like, it was gone. And I struggled, to do the normal creative things that I did. And there became other focuses for other reasons. But how have you guys, like, what has worked for you in the sense of staying creative? I mean, or like, what were some of the challenges and blocks that you had to stay creative? Because obviously you have, but what were some of those challenges? Like, what did you do or not do? Because for the first 3 months, honestly, like I didn't play a lot of guitar.
The world was ending for the first 3 months. You could feel everybody just felt like the world was ending. So
it did feel a little bit
all
like
right. Depression. You just kind of felt that from everywhere. So it was like hard not to just focus on that or try to just get through the day. It was kind of consuming, but yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I felt personally like I needed to like set up a personal space. I'm kind of sitting at my workstation right now, and I don't know. Like, you got my speakers and all this jazz, So and it's nice and sunny in my room, so it's been a good, good change up. I feel like you gotta do something to change it up workflow wise, unless you've already got something really good going on. But that was helpful for me.
Yeah, even like one point, even without the band, like just doing stuff on the side with, like, me and Ryan had done that that one thing with Jacob, right? That Milky Chance cover, where we did like a video like this, and then we record, and put the picture in the picture. And I mean, trying to be creative that way. I mean, I know a lot of people were doing a lot of things remotely and
that was awesome.
Streaming wise. So that was fun and different to do.
Yeah, those like little like virtual
Yeah,
collabs.
we did the,
When people
Yeah.
first started doing that, that was like, yes. I remember like actually just a memory popped in my mind. Actually, like when at the start of quarantine, speaking to what Riley was talking about, having your little space, my piano amp kind of stopped working at the beginning. So I would just, there was a point where I was kind of just going out and using my speakers in my car. I would plug in, I kind of had a little rig. So I'd go like every day. And it was like kind of like my office. I'd just be sitting in the car, like making beats, working on stuff. And that's kind of Rick. I remember telling you how I kind of wanted to start doing kind of like driving and kind of create with people, just have them kind of sit outside my car and jam and with what I'm working on. But yeah, that was I was like kind of like messing my back up by just spending like 5-6 hours a day, like in the office, just making beats in the car. So yeah, I mean, it was helpful to kind of just have a space to get away from the quarantine, get outside of the house and create.
Yeah. Yeah, I can relate to that. I mean, I think I rearranged this entire room and sort of like had to make some kind of new space that helped me feel creative again in a different way. And I think I accomplished a little bit of that, but I definitely like got lost in the mix. But the space like made a difference to me. So I'm glad to hear other people say that and like kind of validate that was what was going through your mind too. It's like I just need to carve out this thing so that I can do it again, because we had to do it in a different way, right? At least for the time being. So
Yeah.
right.
And now
At
I
the
guess
start, I just went like, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, go ahead, please.
At the start, I just kind of went really heavy into practicing. Like, I would play scales for ridiculous amounts of time. Just like I've
Yeah,
got to
me
be doing
too.
something. If I can't work collaboratively, let me work technically, or trying to find different ways of doing stuff. Teaching myself more how to work in the DAW, or like messing with recording techniques, or just different aspects of the process. Try a new like pedal configuration and see what kind of weird noises I can make. I mean, even
Yeah,
like
definitely.
This last fall, I got with no, you're good. This last fall, I got with a friend and did like an ambient collaboration just to do something very different. That's like in a space that I enjoy working. So yeah, a lot of up and down, a lot of couple weeks where I don't feel comfortable like touching the bass, it feels wrong, or times where I'm spending like several hours a day just working on technique.
Yeah, it's so interesting how things can sort of come in an ebb and flow like that, I guess, so to speak. I think that's kind of the nature of the creative mind. I mean, part of it is a discipline too, but
Right.
when there's crazy stuff going on in the world, it is a challenge to like be disciplined in that way. So you have to like also catch those sparks of creativity where you're like, okay, this is something I've never tried before, or you know what I mean, something I don't normally do, but I'm going to go ahead and try it, which is awesome. I mean, it wasn't a necessarily an easy year for anybody, but I feel like at least we're rounding the bend to some degree to where we can think about, okay, you know, the weather's breaking a little bit, like how do we move forward? Like where are you guys on that path? I mean, you've got some new members involved, you've got new things happening, you guys are clearly thinking about summer and performances, and seeing you guys live is like the gem because you're so engaging and you guys just sound fantastic together. The performance last summer was awesome. Even though we missed Angelina, of course, but you know, what are you guys kind of planning on coming up? Are there some things that you can point to that you're really getting ready for?
I mean, yeah, I mean, we're like, I guess we're definitely, I mean, kind of just waiting to see like how things shake out. You know, we're like tentatively wondering whether, you know, like festivals, how festivals are going to be conducted. I know we definitely want to, you know, look into getting into venues that are, you know, conducting shows the right way, and they're going to be doing things. I mean, of course, Grove Studios is a prime example of, you know, a place that's been doing things right through quarantine. And yeah, I mean, I just feel like finding just finding new spots that are going to be having live performances that are going to be socially distanced and put on the right way is what we're going to look for moving forward. And yeah, once we just got to kind of wait to see how things shake out as far as the festivals go and the summer goes. You said you said something about Ann Arbor Summer Festivals. It might be happening.
Yeah, I think I think there's an application out right now currently for Summer Festival, and I think their strategy is they're still going to do Summer Festival, but it's going to look a lot different, and they're gearing towards, I think, kind of a dispersed method of still having Summer Festivals, so smaller engagements, but focusing on spots around Ipsy and Ann Arbor, and I was very excited to hear about the sort of inclusive of the Ypsilanti community, which is super welcome, right? Like
For sure.
we all would love to play top of the park, and you know that's a very cool, you know, Washtenaw County thing that's happening, and I love it. But it's great. I don't know. I think some of these things over the last year have forced all of us to look at things differently, and I think there's interesting stuff coming out of it, right? Like pop-up Ann Arbor Summerfest shows that
Yeah.
might not just be in Ann Arbor.
What do
and
they call
that's
it? Tiny
exciting.
Tops.
Tiny
Heard it on the
Top.
radio.
Yeah.
I think it's what it was called.
Yeah.
They have like separate, you know, you can come to like residences and do it, or like, you know, businesses, or, you know, I heard it on the radio.
Yeah. We actually were pretty lucky last summer to find ourselves in some like pretty cool, just like socially distanced patio gigs, you know, over on Washington Street and Ypsilanti, and you know, places like we played a handful of times out in Depot Town. So it'd be you know, we're hoping to see more stuff like that, especially, you know, here in Ypsilanti. That'd be really cool.
Right.
Yeah, and you guys did. You guys performed at the Tangent Gallery.
Yep.
Last summer, so there were things happening a couple times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great.
Edge of spot.
Yep.
Great
Yeah.
venue.
Beanstalk out there.
Shout out to the Tangent Gallery and the cool work those guys are doing out there. Yeah, and I think it just took people, like, it takes time to figure out how to do these things, given that nobody's ever had to like figure out these things before in the last 100 years, right? So now it's a totally different thing, and I think we can look forward to like a summer that maybe is a little bit more robust from a music standpoint, because people have kind of figured stuff out, right?
Yeah.
That's my sense of it. Don't you think?
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even we have gotten some more stuff together. We've now got the equipment to effectively put on complete shows, and especially with the help of you know, Riley joining in. Riley brings some event coordination, we'll call it, to the table to help. You know, if we need to put things on, if we have those opportunities or can find that space, without having to rely on businesses or other places to create it.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that, right? Like somebody in the band is you know, kind of has this skill set that adds value to the band, and that's always cool to, have different band members with different skill sets that they can, kind of add to the game of it. And that's a really interesting kind of direction to go to. Like, what are some of the skill sets in the band that you guys are like, you kind of lean on each other for a little bit sometimes? I mean, I know there can be some sensitive areas where like, yeah, well, so-and-so doesn't ever do this or doesn't ever do it. It depends on the dynamic of the band, of course, but what are some skill sets that are important to you guys as you think about organizing for the year? Event coordination is definitely one of them, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping to help with that for sure. And just, I think part of what Dan was saying too is just like backup, helping set up sound, I mean, I think that like socializing and like the social element is like always important, and possibly even more important now, to like really,
Right.
I don't know, just be on top of. Don't just like go to your gig and play and dip out, like got to interact with the people that came to see you, whether they're your fans or like hopefully new fans, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's something I very heavily rely on everyone else here for.
I mean,
I feel like
naturally
there's such a
introverted.
balance with that in different groups,
I
There's,
know,
like,
I know.
2021.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, we're here to
I'll try
spread
to
good
talk to
vibes
strangers.
through. We're here to spread good vibes through music, but not just music, as well as with our personalities and with our energy. And yeah, that definitely, like Riley said, includes like engaging with the community outside of just our performances, for sure. Yeah.
And it can be hard. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I think maybe a lot of people don't realize it, but I'm a little bit of like a, closet introvert, if that's that's not really a term, but like
I call myself a closet extrovert, so
okay, or closet, maybe that's the more accurate term, but I think a lot of people don't realize, and this is a thing that I've been thinking about like over the years, just as I've been thinking about myself as a musician and going out and doing stuff. It's like sometimes like, yeah, people are like, oh, but you get on stage and you perform in front of lots of people and you're willing to do that. But like, how could you possibly be introverted kind of at the same time? Like, it's a weird thing, but do you guys think that many musicians are closet extroverts, right? That's the thing.
Well, I feel like you're being accurate with that, because I'm talking about the opposite, where it like might seem like I'm more introverted, but then I actually just like rely emotionally a lot on other people and just like where I'm seeing my value in my life. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's kind of the definition of it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Or like where you're drawing your energy from, where you rely on for your energy.
Right.
So yeah, I think you were accurate with closet introvert.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that are like more of like studio artists, and they feel like, oh, I got to get out and gig because that's what you do, and that's the only way people are gonna like see my shit, So I think there's people like that, but
yeah. I mean, even so, like when you're on stage, you can still feel like you're in your own zone. So you don't have to be extroverted like when you're on stage, because you're just in your, that's like different than being out in the crowd and being with the people. And, I mean, you have to engage that way, I guess. But yeah, on stage, I definitely feel like you can definitely be in a zone where you're in your own introverted, space.
Yeah.
So
no,
not
that's
worrying
the
about
reason
the
I don't
crowd,
get a microphone.
They're not like right there. It's just yeah.
That's a really good point.
The people on stage who get a microphone, who do that work of interacting with the audience, I always appreciated them, because I mean, I love conversation, I love talking to people, but talking to a crowd is just, I never felt like I had that skill.
Well, it's definitely something that I've had to
people
get more comfortable with. I mean, I've
Sure.
like, this is the first band I've ever been in. So like from the start of the band, like I definitely was just like, okay, I'm here in my own, can't interact because I am in my own zone, and people like it because I'm singing and I'm doing my thing, but like, I don't, that was the thing I had to learn, was being more engaging and kind of, feeling out the crowd but I definitely got more comfortable with that, with being, having experience on stage. So it came
Yeah.
with time, for sure too.
That's a whole skill set on its own, right? Especially as someone who's fronting a band, or even has a microphone in front of you, because
Yeah.
that's a dangerous thing if you don't know how to, like, you have to make the audience feel comfortable and engage with them. Like, it's great that you have an amazing voice and you can perform like the songs, but like, that's the other level of stuff that you really have to cultivate. And I commend anybody that is a front person, because I did that at one point, and I quickly fell back into, and not that it's a fallback, it's just a decision that I made, that I said, I want to do this. But now again, it's coming out that, like, oh yeah, you were in choir, you know how to do harmonies, like, why aren't you singing? And so I should, but it takes reiteration, and got to force yourself sometimes into that space, right?
Yeah.
True.
Yes.
I get it.
Yeah.
So thinking forward, I mean, what like from a recording standpoint, are you thinking about, I mean, are you just thinking about, like, we just want to get out and play, or are you really priming to get a recording project done at some point? Am I asking too many? Yeah.
No, we actually just kind of talked about this. I mean, because we are transitioning with a new drummer, obviously, like the part of quarantine was kind of cool to have that space to be able to transition with that. And then getting caught up with the material we already had, but also we're definitely excited with writing new stuff, because we have been playing the same stuff for a little while. So we're getting into the beginning of even finding new covers to jam with, and writing new material. So definitely that's new material is in the near future.
Right.
Awesome.
We have the full capabilities to record ourselves at decent quality now, and so experimenting with that, having done like really good work with Fundamental or The Mission, have both. We've got a couple really high quality singles out of working with others, and hope that we'll be able to do that again soon. But just figuring out how to create more content, and what kind of content, or turn that music that we've had in our back pockets for a few years into a collection, so that it exists for people to access and then move forward, or like simultaneous, just kind of figuring out what makes the most sense as we get Riley up to speed and hear how he fits with everything.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's always a process. And content is always the thing, right? It's not like it necessarily used to be in the old music business, as I kind of call it. It's like you have to keep sort of fresh and producing content. So what are like some of the, like, what are some of the things that well, okay, going back to the content piece, right? What are some of the most important, like, if you were to kind of give advice to anyone, like, what do you guys think are the important content pieces? I mean, obviously music is one, but are there other things that even you wish you could be doing, or you want to do more of, that you think drives success for artists forward? I mean, what are some of the things, for people that are listening that are like, I don't know what, I'm still kind of getting started. I'm still trying to put together a band. I'm still, you guys have all, have had lots of experience in your own right. So, like, what would you say to people that they might need to think about?
Well,
Well-
social media is definitely a big thing as far as. I'm sorry, Ryan was going to say something,
No,
but
I was saying exactly what you're saying.
yeah, social media. We actually just did a really fun photo shoot the other day, just kind of random, but it was just kind of cool, to kind of get material to use for social media and to catch people's attention and to to have different things that people can actually visually see, as well as maybe like little videos here and there of us working or practicing and stuff like that to start posting. But for sure, social media is going to be a big thing that people obviously follow us on, other than, finding out when our shows are. But yeah.
Content in the modern world
Content.
seems to have a much shorter half-life. Like, you put out a single and people are already in 2 or 3 days seeing the next thing. Facebook's algorithm puts something brand new in front of them, or somebody who boosted with an additional $10 more than you is now moved to the front of their feed. And you can't really sit on content as long. It doesn't feel like. I know I'm particularly bad at that.
And you can't afford to be really particular about and a perfectionist about stuff. You have to like find ways to casually create this content and get it out there, and don't spend a lot of time or money on it.
Right.
It's more about forming a ongoing relationship, right?
Yeah, you find that especially with like Vine or in the TikTok era, that like people don't mind mistakes as much as once upon a time, at least I thought they did. People are okay with like, something at 75%. They're happy to see you mess up and keep going, even in, published media, which has been a big surprise to me over the last few years, just because of the expectations I put on myself and my art.
Yeah. That is to both of you. That is a great point. And I think to some degree, the older you are, the harder that is maybe to sort of understand. It's like, I know, people that are musicians and artists and everything that are, a bit older than me, they tend to even skew more towards that. Like, no, man, I'm doing this project and it's going to be this perfect thing. And it's really less. Obviously you still want to put out something quality, right? Like your artistic vision, but like along the way, it's the idea that you sort of document. And it's less about create, even though all the while you're creating, you're just documenting. And it's like, yeah, it's 75%. It might even be 50% because we're going to post some silly thing that we did, or goofy selfie, or just like whatever it is. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I agree that's been the big surprise over the years, that like people accept that and kind of enjoy it, right? Like you want to see what's behind the scenes to some degree. And now we can, at the same time, it sort of makes people feel uncomfortable because it's like almost like you're welcoming people into your imperfect world. And how do we all feel about that? And so all of those things kind of get mixed in there, and that can be hard too, right?
It's more vulnerable, for sure.
Right. It's a vulnerability thing. That's a great point.
Yeah. I think that's what people are looking for a lot of the time too. I think just I think you kind of have to you might have to force part of it, but overall you should be like trying to have a good bulk of it, of your content, or the thing that's driving your content, being like genuine and just like part of your life, or
relatable.
Like you either might have to force the idea of it, but then be really natural about doing the content, or other way around. You might like have a really good idea for something, but be clunky at like delivering it. But at least if you do one of those things and like people can tell that you're trying, like some combination of that, like I think what you were saying before about mistakes and stuff, like it's worth just trying to break some of those barriers down to get regular content out there.
Oh yeah.
Well, you think even just like songs that I love, that current artist songs that I love, it's like they have a version of that song that I love at this studio, and then you go on YouTube and then you can see they did that again in a different studio and a different studio. So it's like you spend so much time worrying about this one recording. It's like you can do it again and maybe have different instruments and different musicians join you on, you know, the same idea or different iterations or ways you can change your ideas and let them evolve too. You know, it took a minute before me personally to like realize that and like kind of like let understand that I can let ideas kind of more evolve and grow. And then it's just you know, it's kind of a constant process.
Right. I mean, I've even noticed with like to point out like JD Beck and Domi will put out like a 30-second song that's basically like, we got this cool riff and let's jam on it for 30 seconds, put that out. And you know, something that I would see from a friend and be like, oh, that's really cool, that would make a great song. And they just put that out there and people consume that media. I mean, people love to jump in, will repeat. You get millions of views off of 30 seconds that I think at my first instinct would be like, that is one passage of a piece or, you know, one small section of a song. And it never has to move past that because people are happy to consume that bite-sized media and keep going.
There's like two different good ways to be good. You know, it's like the ability to pour over all the details and iterate. And then there's the kind of I don't know, I mean, natural sort of effortless, just kind of be impressive. And obviously like these days, you really are better off with the second one because you can just kind of, it's not that it's bad and you don't care. It's kind of that you've found a way to be good without a lot of iteration or good enough or interesting, entertaining.
Yeah.
I love that
if
point.
You can be concise.
2030 is going to be like 2 notes.
Yeah, people's attention spans are gonna be like, all right, next.
Well, I think you know, somebody
It's a banger.
somebody I forget, I don't know if I read it or I saw it in a YouTube video or something, but somebody was like, you know, if you're thinking about how you approach social media as an artist, a musician, like you kind of think about like your stories or your reels or whatever the new thing that they come up with to sort of like give that bite-sized content that makes it easy for people to kind of just consume and scroll through and enjoy. It's like your reel or your story is kind of like the reality show of, you know, you just giving people little tidbits of like, oh, hey, we're, you know, and there's that 30-second like riff or jam or whatever. But in the meantime, yeah, like clearly you're working on a larger piece, you're working towards a bigger vision. And it makes sense. Like if you think about it in that way, the hard part is and this is just me and what I struggle with too. And I think like playing with Ryan as well, it's like stopping, like almost pausing the creativity because like it's natural and flowing and you're like,
it's not the
this is fun. Hold on a second. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's almost like, how do you set up those processes to like make it easier for you to capture that while still maintaining the flow of your creativity? I know that's what I struggle with. Do you guys agree? Does that seem like what's challenging for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I forget where the adage comes from, but like, you know, a work of art or music, I always think of it, it's never done, it's just abandoned.
Wow.
And like,
yeah,
like, you know, a song is never done. You just let it be what it is and move forward, or you never do. I have pieces that I've been working on literally for 8 years that like I have never been capable of quite abandoning and never quite like, all right, this can go out into the world now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like,
I think it was.
Does it really exist?
Yeah. I think I don't. Neil Young comes to mind in the sense.
That sounds right.
He said something about along those lines, maybe too. Maybe it was him, or maybe it was somebody else. But like even like bands, bands don't fail. They just give up. It's it feels like along the same kind of lines where it's like, I've had this idea and I've had the same experience where I've had this phrase or this composition or something that never becomes something, or I didn't commit to it and it just never, but every now and then it'll bubble back up and I'll go, oh, I really like that. And then it either becomes something or it doesn't. And if you're collaborating in a group and you share it, people are either going to, get on board, or they'll go, yeah, I'm not feeling it. And it just goes away. It kind of, it's an interesting thing about being an artist, right?
Mhm.
You're building something out of real notes and progressions and structures, but sometimes, you question whether does it really exist or not. I guess that's one of the things of being an artist that probably never goes away. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's some validity to not necessarily pushing all of your songs to the limit just because you created the first part of them also, like, especially if there's other people involved, I would personally rather, make 100 songs and use 70 or 80 of them, because then it's kind of like quality control in a way, but also you're just not putting your time towards something you could be either just having the fun of creating something new or pushing something that you have more faith in.
Yeah.
Having options.
Yeah. Options to, try something different.
Yeah. Or kind of like you said too, at each time, like it just, even if it's a good song, it might not be the song for that time or that project or whatever.
Right. So that's something that's nice about music and like band spaces is you can see it here with like, Ryan being in the Day Nights as well as Violet Soul, as well as doing other stuff. Like, if something doesn't necessarily fit in one context as you're trying, or, the other artists that you're working with in this context, they don't vibe with what you're doing. You can keep bringing it up until you find a group that's excited about it, or someone that brings an idea or a way of thinking about it to the table that it can, become what it's wanted to be.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's part of the beauty of it too. That's why I do enjoy playing with musicians outside of a group, or, I sort of miss open mic nights, to be honest with you. I mean, those are places where I cut my teeth as a guitar player. Failing miserably in front of lots of people was something. Was that an experience for you guys? Did you? How many of you failed miserably in front of lots of people in open mic nights? I don't know.
Yeah, my worst gigs are behind me. No matter what I do from here.
Right.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, open mics tend to be less serious, so I tend to be a little bit more drunk. So yeah, once that happens.
Perfect. Yes. Yes. The liquid courage can take over. I totally get
I've
that.
never broken a string or dropped a piece of equipment, yanked a cord out, or anything in front of people.
Oh, well, I've tried to hit that note and it didn't don't always do it. So
oh man. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see you guys all like staying on the positive and continuing to create. Just on a personal level, I've enjoyed seeing all of you, and I've seen you all actually perform in some different contexts, and it's cool to see you like continuing on this Violet Soul project. I'm really excited to see what you guys do next. The weather is coming, and the pandemic, while it's still happening, it's going to be a little bit lighter and I think easier for us to get around this summer. And I know I'm going to be making efforts to get out and see you all perform. And maybe there's a double gig coming up where Ryan pulls some double duty, but if he's down with that, I'd love that. And there's so many things that are uncertain still right now. And I've been literally asking this question for the last 10 months, 12. Well, no, it's 12 months. It's literally been a year.
Right.
And saying, hey, guys,
Yeah.
a lot is uncertain right now. What's certain for you? And like, it could be anything. It could be about music. It could be about life in general. We all have our little and large challenges in our lives, but it feels like the question isn't just about the pandemic. It's life in general. Like, what do you feel is certain, whether it's music or life in general? I'd love to hear everybody's take.
I think, well, for me solely is, I mean, like you said, just staying positive, and to keep doing what we enjoy doing, and sharing our talents, and yeah, spreading love. That's all. I mean, that's as simple as I can make it. I mean,
Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Next.
I would say kind of what she was going with too, just like providing the space for people too, like continuing to put stuff on to hold the space for, music, both on the performing side and, just for people to come and get down and whatnot. And yeah, it's a two-way street. So try to make that happen for everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Get
Love it.
down.
Yeah.
The other gentleman in the band, what do you guys think?
Yeah. Say.
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh yeah.
No. For me, it's. I really think it does come down to again. I love boilerplate language. Like change. Just keep moving forward. Like we're gonna keep adapting, and I feel like no matter what happens in my space, in our space, it's kind of gonna be a constant state of adaptation. Keep that little bit of cognitive dissonance to let yourself move to whatever the next thing. You have to be able to react while staying on track. So just evolution and change, I think, is the only real thing that I can say is staying constant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great point, man.
Yeah.
Sure.
Poster,
Being adaptive.
motivational poster.
Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna say the same thing basically. I mean, like music is an adventure, and this year has just made it even more adventurous in a way, like in terms of like trying new things and
Yeah.
the thing we know for certain is that we're gonna do music one way or another, right? That's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And so we can negotiate and we can compromise on all the other details, basically. Where, when, how,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will die before I stop creating.
Absolutely. I've been really inspired by so many, obviously we're in this microcosm of Michigan, Southeast Michigan music, but I've been really inspired by everybody that's trying to hold that torch, and it's been tough. I know we've all had personal challenges, right? And like those things aren't readily available as an artist to see out there. But I really like to talk about these things when we do these chats, because the performance is one thing, but I also like people to understand some of the ways that we think about these things as people working in the field, right? And trying to not only accomplish our own artistic visions, but also like just bring joy to other people. I think that's part of the reason we're all into it, right? It's not just our personal self-satisfaction, and it's not all about us. We do bring joy to other people. And I know you guys are really focused on that, because every time I've seen any of you perform, like, you are actively doing that. And I admire that, and I appreciate that about you guys. So kudos to you guys for keeping up the creative juices. Thanks for chatting with me tonight.
Ryan,
and
what are you doing?
looking forward to seeing you guys soon.
Ditto to everything you guys put it so elegantly. I don't know what else to say. Just,
Same.
Well, yeah. Ryan, I know. Yeah. Is that it? Just the same? I mean, is there anything you want to add to that? other than your fresh jacket, because you are looking sharp
This-
tonight.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be out here, getting new jackets, put them on, making music in them. Gonna be, seeing you very soon. Everybody in the chat, we're gonna be making some good music. Yeah, they all said it. I don't know what else to say, but yeah, thank
Sorry.
you. That's great.
Do we have anything booked in April or May?
Not yet.
Okay.
We're working on it.
I didn't think so, but
I'm
know,
sure we
nothing-
will. We'll get something.
Right. Nothing's solid.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll
Check
get
our
this tomorrow,
social media
kids.
pages, right?
Yeah, social
And they'll be
media,
on there.
Yeah.
We got
Working on it.
Facebook, Instagram.
As well as some other content like we were talking about, like that photo shoot, and
right.
Yeah.
We got some stuff on SoundCloud,
Yeah.
Bandcamp, all
check
that good
back. We'll
stuff.
be making it happen.
The drip. We're gonna do the drip.
Keep trucking. Appreciate you guys. Really, truly look forward to more stuff. Look forward to more jams, and looking forward to the nice weather. So, once again, Violet Soul, an amazing fusion of jazz and rock and boy, soul, R&B, a little bit of funk in there. You guys are really like a bunch of great musicians and truly a bunch of great people. And thanks for spending time with me tonight. Make sure if you haven't watched the performance from this summer, it's a little bit of a different configuration. Angelina is not there, but you can also, where's the best way for people to connect with Violet Soul content on the internets? SoundCloud,
Facebook, definitely.
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook. Violet Soul Music as our Instagram as well. And yeah.
We have a couple tracks out there on most streaming platforms, Spotify, and especially we have some things on SoundCloud as well. I think they're on YouTube as well too. So yeah, I mean,
Yep.
yeah.
So it's
Everywhere you find music.
Violet Soul,
Anywhere.
SOL. Check them out. Amazing group of people, lovely people, wonderful people. And you guys have a great night. Thanks for
Bud.
joining Grove Sessions.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
Peace.